Thank you, Brian, and welcome everyone to this October 2023 meeting of the Homewood City Council. We're going to start tonight with a proclamation regarding Italian Heritage Month, so I'll turn it over to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I drop it, I apologize. Marie, if you guys want to come up here, you're more than welcome. So, and I will.
All of y'all can come up if you want to. Come on.
Come up. I wasn't sure if Marie said no. I'm going up there. Y'all stay there.
I'll share.
You'll share? Okay, good. So this is a proclamation for Italian Heritage Month for October 2023. Whereas the United States Congress, by joint resolution on April 30th, 1934, and modified in 1968, proclaimed the second Monday of each year as Columbus Day. And whereas Columbus Day not only memorializes Christopher Columbus and his crew's journey to America, but it is also a day to recognize the accomplishments of all Italian Americans and their impact on American society. And whereas at the turn of the last century, thousands of Italian immigrants settled in Alabama, attracted by the city of iron and steel and to our region of the state. And whereas Italian immigrants worked in factories, mines, small farms, and small businesses and went on to achieve success in every arena. And whereas Italian Americans have enriched the cultural life of the state they helped build. And whereas Alabama is proud to be home to a distinguished population and recognizes the success of Italian men and women have made throughout the region. Now therefore I, Patrick McCluskey, Mayor of the City of Homewood, Alabama, do hereby proclaim October 2023 as Italian American Heritage Month in the City of Homewood and urge all residents to recognize the accomplishments made by Italian Americans in our community. So, you are so very welcome. This is yours. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yes.
Can I get a picture with the mayor? Yes.
Move that out of the way. Let's go.
One, two, three. We'll take a few. One, two, three. One, two, three. All right, then we'll turn like this. One, two, three. One, two, three.
Thank you.
Paul, did you get everything? Okay.
Thank you
so much. Would
Thank
you
so much,
like to
Mayor.
say any words? You're more than welcome.
I would just like to thank Mayor McCluskey and the city council members for this great honor, and we're very happy.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right. So with that, I will go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we're going to start tonight with an invocation from Councilor Andrus, and that'll be followed by the pledge. If everyone will please stand.
Will you pray with me? Dear Heavenly Father, I pray tonight for your presence as we meet to serve our city of Homewood. I thank you for Homewood's many blessings, including our citizens and our employees. I pray for wisdom and guidance as we deliberate, and I pray that every decision we make be righteous in your sight. Tonight, I also pray for peace around the world. Please free our world from conflict, hatred, and violence. Lastly, I ask that you comfort the family of Anaya Blanchard as they gather tonight in her memory in West Homewood. It is in your holy name that we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Councilor Andrus. Mr. Sechrist, I'm assuming it's you. I see both of you down there. If you'll call roll, please.
Yes, sir. Councilor Gwaltney.
Here.
Gear.
Here.
Alleman. Here. Wolverton. Here. Sims. Here. Jones. Here. Smith.
Here.
Nelms.
Here.
Andrus.
Here.
Harden.
Here.
And President White.
All right. Got a full house. Next, we have the reading of the minutes from our council meeting of October 9, 2023. Those have been previously distributed. I would entertain a motion and a second to dispense with the reading of those minutes and for approval of the same. We've got a motion from Mr. Wolverton and a second from Mr. Alleman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are approved 11-0. Next, we have board vacancies. We have a Ward 5 library position that I think closed today. Is that correct? And we have one,
Yes.
still just one applicant, is that right? And that's Kirk Mobley?
Yes.
Okay. So I take it then that Ward 5 would nominate Kirk Mobley?
We would.
All right, so we'll take that as a motion from Ms. Andrus and a second from Mr. Harden.
Yes.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and that is 11-0. And then just a reminder, we also have a Ward 4 Historic Preservation Commission position that is still open and will close on November 27th. All right, we do have one addition to the agenda tonight. It'll be added to the committee referral agenda. It'll be 19-10-23, request for consideration for one-time offer concerning retiree health insurance. This comes to us from Mayor McCluskey, and will go to Finance. All right, so with that addition, I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of the amended agenda.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Gwaltney, second from Mr. Alamon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 11-0. We don't have anything on the consent agenda tonight, so we'll go straight to old business. First item 01-10-23, request to fund the senior engineering inspector position, brought to us by Mayor McCluskey and Cale Smith. And we'll start with a report from Finance. Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met October 16th and voted 5-0 to recommend approval of this item.
All right, so we have a motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 11-0, and will be resolution 23-150. Next item, 02-10-23, request for permission to submit an A-Trip 2 grant application for access management along the US 31 corridor, brought to us by Councilor Andrus and Cale Smith, and another report from Finance, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Finance Committee discussed this and heard from Mr. Smith and Mr. Bailey, voted 5-0 to recommend approval of this item.
All right, so we have another motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is also 11-0, and will be resolution 23-151. Next item, 03-10-23, request to set a bid opening for communication services, brought to us by Councilor Smith, and another report from Finance, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Finance Committee voted 5-0 to recommend setting the bid opening date for November 6th at 4:31 p.m. Submissions will be due at 4:30.
All right, so we will set that bid opening for November 6th.
Mr. President, you have a request from the back to turn your microphone on.
Yep. Thank you. Sorry about that, Brian. All right, next item, 04-10-23, request for consideration of public safety building elevator maintenance, brought to us by Lieutenant Peterson, and another report from Finance, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Finance Committee voted 5-0 to recommend approval of this item. It's $20,300 from Fund 01, which is 01-14-54-0900, 5-0.
All right, so we have another motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is also 11-0, and will be resolution 23-152. Next item, 05-10-23, request to set a public hearing for consideration of condemnation of the accessory structure at 2819 Crescent Avenue, brought to us by Wyatt Pugh, and we'll start with a report from Public Safety. Mr. Gwaltney.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The committee met last week and voted 5-0 to refer this back to the full council without recommendation pending the public hearing. The motion was made by Councilor Harden and seconded by Councilor Nelms.
All right, so we will set that public hearing. I'm going to set it for, unless Mr. Kendrick tells me I need more notice, for November 27th at 6 p.m., since we already have a number of public hearings set on the 6th. Before then, anyway. Fantastic. So then we'll do November 27th at 6 p.m. All right, next item, 06-10-23, request for consideration of Wine 10K event on City Hall Plaza from March 2, 2024, brought to us by Councilor Andrus, and a report from Special Issues, Ms. Smith.
Yes, committee met last week and voted 4-0 to recommend approving this item. Motion was made by Mr. Alamon and seconded by Ms. Andrus.
All right, so we have a motion from Special Issues. Any questions or comments? Mr. Wolverton.
I just didn't remember the time frame we gave them, or did they give us one?
I believe the timing it's way earlier than they need. I think it was 5 a.m.
5
no, I think it's 5 a.m. to 10 to 10 a.m.
10 a.m. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember them saying
The
they were
race,
gonna
I
get
believe,
done
starts at 8
7.
or 7.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay,
early.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
So
Okay.
that gives them plenty of time to get set up and ready.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is 11-0 as well, and will be Resolution 23-153. Next item, 150923, public hearing set for tonight for consideration of sign variance at 2713 18th Place South, brought to us by Dunn Real Estate, David Brandt of Fraybert, and Wyatt Pugh, and another report from Special Issues, Ms. Smith.
Yes, committee met last week, voted 4-0 to recommend sending this out, setting the public hearing for October 23rd at 6 p.m. and referring this item to the full council without recommendation pending that public hearing tonight. And the motion was made by Councilor Sims and seconded by Councilor Andrus.
All right, so I will go ahead and open this public hearing. I see Mr. Pugh up at the podium. Tell us what we got.
Sure thing. Brian, if you'll, yeah, there it is. That's what the shopping center looks like now. The request is on the next page to put a wall sign, a second wall sign for each tenant, sort of a group wall sign on that street along the side there. So it would, the request boils down to to allow a second wall sign for each tenant and to allow a wall sign in a location other than a storefront.
All right. Do we have anyone else here tonight to speak for or against this item? If not, then I will close the public hearing, ask if there are any questions or comments from council.
This is the one that we talked about because the shopping center is kind of an L, and a lot of the businesses are back toward the back. And I think the reason this was brought up was because of Homewood Gourmet, because they're on the very far end of the strip. So you can't really see their sign on the wall from their location at the back. So this would allow all the businesses that are there, some of which are in the back, to have a little bit of presence on the street side.
All right. Anybody else?
Is it that entire white section? I don't remember.
No,
That's much larger. Okay.
it's just the small sign, yeah.
All right. Anybody else? All right, so we have a motion to approve from Mr. Wolverton. Second from Mr. Alamon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved 11-0 and will be Resolution 23-154. All right, next item, 160923, public hearing set for tonight for consideration of sign variance at 169 State Farm Parkway, Suite 101, brought to us by Stanton Optical, RME Signs Pro LLC, and Wyatt Pugh, and another report from Special Issues, Ms. Smith.
Yes, met and voted 4-0 to recommend setting the public hearing for tonight at 6 p.m. and referring this item out to the full council without recommendation pending that public hearing. Motion was made by Ms. Anderson, seconded by Councilor Gear.
All right, and so I'll go ahead and open the public hearing on this. Mr. Pugh, tell us about this one.
Sure thing. So there's already one sign that's been permitted on the front, on the storefront. The district allows one wall sign per tenant. The request is to add, this actually faces out toward Wildwood Parkway. And so the request is for another wall sign on the side and another wall sign on the back facing State Farm Parkway.
So where, excuse me for a second, what building is this?
It's the old FedEx.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm off a block, okay.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's right, it's in the same building with McAllister's.
So they would end up with, if it were approved, they would end up with 3 wall signs?
3 wall signs,
Do they
yes.
have a monument sign as well?
No,
Okay. There is no monument sign? for
there's
this?
no monument sign, I don't think so. Is it out on the State Farm side?
I think he,
Yeah.
I thought they showed one.
yeah, isn't there a monument sign?
Did you hear about the sign? Yes.
Yeah.
Come on up.
Isn't there a monument sign somewhere? Oh, okay. Okay.
If,
I thought
if
we
you
thought-
will, just come up and sign in, just so we've got your name for the record.
Sure.
Thank you.
And I also can't remember, Wyatt, did we discuss the fact, are all 3 of the signs illuminated or no? Yes, they are, all 3, so the one,
But it's permitted, illumination.
yeah, right. I just was trying to figure out, so the one that's there already is illuminated, and now they would like to add an illuminated and illuminated on the back. Okay, got it.
so it's on the side, it's on the back that faces State Farm Parkway, and then on the, I'll call it the front that faces Lake Shore.
That's right.
And we dealt with this with somebody else. Was it McAllister's? And, yeah.
next
what-
door?
And do you remember what our,
Connect-
Yeah,
what did we agree to?
I think
Not as much.
I think we did one additional wall sign.
Yeah, and that was on the back facing
back.
State Farm Parkway. Because they had asked for a drive-through sign and a sweet tea sign and some other
Oh,
signs.
yeah,
signs.
I remember.
Yeah.
Wyatt, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
There was, someone asked if there was a monument sign, which we don't know if there is or
That's what I was
is
just gonna
not,
look
but
on Google.
regardless, is a monument sign permitted without a variance?
A monument sign would be permitted
Okay.
in the zone without a.
So even if they don't have one now,
They can.
they
Go
can
forward.
add one later
They
always,
could.
regardless if they have 3 or 2 or 1?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
That's right.
Wyatt, I don't remember, but I think one of these had a double monument sign, like it was joint businesses, but it
That's
might
what
have been Taco Bell and somebody else.
Yeah,
But I thought that McAllister's had the monument, but it had a blank one for the new business coming in.
it's not on the State Farm side, but it may be around on the Wild.
I'm almost positive there is a McAllister's on the Lake Shore side.
Yes, because that was part of, when we discussed about all the sign variance requests, we were like, well, you already have a monument sign. Because we were checking to make sure it was visible from Lake Shore. And I'm pretty sure Jolita's right that it had an additional spot for whatever the other business was going to be once it
Yeah.
came in.
These store frontages are
Facing Lake Shore.
So the back of the building is what you see from State Farm Parkway.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just speak to my position on this. If we wanted a million signs out there, we would have allowed it. You know, there's a reason we don't. And so to have signs all over the building, I think we've already told other businesses out there that we're not going to do that. The monument sign handles, in my opinion, a good portion of this, whether they've got it or they want it. To Mr. Sims' point, you know, they could get that. This seems like too many signs to me. I think I've spoken in the past. I'm not even crazy about the one on the back, but I can, you know, I understand the logic behind it, and I know that other people have been sympathetic to that, so I haven't made much of a fuss about it. But I certainly don't see any need for more than that.
Yeah, and I think we've had other businesses, including the McAllisters, on that side, and another business on the other side of Wildwood, who've asked for a side sign. And I think we all felt that a sign on the front and a sign on the back was more than enough to make sure people knew where the business was. And I'm with Alex, it's just a lot of signs.
All right, let me do this. Is there anyone else here to speak for or against this item? That way I can go ahead and close the public hearing before I forget. Anyone else with any questions or comments? Okay, so the request at this point is still for two additional signs. All right.
Just to be clear, one is on the side, one is on the rear?
That's right.
Those are the two.
If you had to choose between the two, which would you prefer?
Most likely the front or the back.
I would make that motion then.
Yep.
I would make the motion for one additional sign on
So
the
you
back.
choose one
Okay.
along State Farm
Yeah.
Parkway, okay.
All right, so we have a motion for Ms. Anderson, a second for Ms. Nelms. Mr. Jones had a comment.
Was the applicant invited tonight and decided not to come?
These are signs.
Well,
It's a
I know,
sign
but
company.
I'm talking about the applicant.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'd like to hear from Stanford.
Yeah, that was me. I'm sorry, okay. No worries.
And just to be clear, you're with RME Signs?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
all right.
Mr. All of the signs fit the size requirement?
They do, they would. If they were permitted in that location, they would be okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so just to clarify, because we had a bunch of stuff going on at once, Ms. Anderson, was your motion specific as to
The back. One-
just allowing the variance on the back but not on the side?
Correct,
Okay.
The back being facing,
State Farm Parkway.
correct, yes.
that's always a little confusing to me. What's the front and what's the back?
That's right.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is approved 11-0 and will be resolution 23-155.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item, 11-10-23, public hearing set for November 6, 2023 at 6 p.m. for consideration to approve an amended development plan at 202 State Farm Parkway. The applicant is Homewood Property Out Parcel Owner LLC to permit the proposed construction of a new 3,726 square foot, single-story urgent care medical clinic, as well as associated parking, landscaping, and other site improvements. This comes to us from the Planning Commission with a vote of 9-0 favorable recommendation. All right, so we will carry that item over for the public hearing on November 6th. Also, just as a reminder, on February 6th, we will also have public hearings on,
February 6th?
I'm sorry, November 6th. Wow, or back, one or the other. There's no telling these days. We will also have public hearings on 08-10-23, 09-10-23, both of which deal with the Piggly Wiggly, and 10-10-23, which deals with the Second Presbyterian Church. All three of those items remain in Planning and Development Committee, but we will have, the public hearing has already been set on those items. All right, that brings us to the amended committee referral agenda. I would entertain a motion, a second for approval of the amended committee referral agenda.
So moved.
All right, motion from Ms. Smith, second from Ms. Nelms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 11-0, which brings us to other new business. 15-10-23, request for consideration to authorize the mayor to sign contract and pay fiscal year 23-24 budget appropriations for the Chamber of Commerce and for Red Mountain Park. Is brought to us by Robert Burgett and Melody Salter. Just as a reminder, these are items that were already approved in the budget. That's why they're not going to committee, because they've already been handled there. But because we don't have a motion from committee, we do have to have a motion and a second for these. So these items are already budgeted and already taken care of. We just need to actually authorize the mayor to sign the contract so that the items can be paid.
Motion to approve.
Wait on.
Sorry.
So we got to do it two different ones. So, yeah, so let's do the chamber first.
Okay, motion to approve.
All right, motion from Ms. Smith, second from Mr. Wolverton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 11-0 and will be resolution 23-156. All right, now for Red Mountain Park.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Alamon, second for Mr. Wolverton. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is going to be resolution 23-157. All right, next item is 16-10-23, request to change council meeting dates for November and December, which I've got here. So I'm just going to go through the list, which will include committees, even though the actual resolution will just be for the council meetings. We will do committees on October 30th. We'll do full council on November 6th. Committees on November 13th. We'll take the week of Thanksgiving off. Then we'll do full council on November 27th. Committees on December 4th. Full council on December 11th. And December 18th will be both committees and council, and then take the week of Christmas off. All right, so with those dates, I would entertain a motion and a second for approval.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Wolverton, second from Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is 11-0 and will be resolution 23-158. Then our last item, 17-10-23, request for consideration of approval of vouchers for the period of October 10, 2023 through October 23, 2023, brought to us by Robert Burgett and Melody Salter. Mr. Jones, is this Mr. Hart?
Yes, I did have a chance to go through the vouchers, and then Robert sent me a couple more today, which were fine, and they answered all my questions in red. That came back to me in red answers, which were fine, and so I'm good. So I make a motion to approve the vouchers.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion from Mr. Harden, a second from Ms. Smith. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is approved 11-0, and will be Resolution 23-159, which brings us to the end of the agenda. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. Quick question for you. The amended nights, does the December 18th, does that take care of January 1st, which is the next following Monday? Or do you want to try and, because that's also New Year's Day is the next Monday. I didn't know if you.
No, it doesn't take care of that. We'll probably have to double up in January on that. I don't know that we'll have to change a council night, which means we may not need a resolution, but we
Sure.
probably will have to change the committee night because of that.
Okay.
And I'll get back to everybody on that.
I just wanted to make sure, because
No, I'm glad you
I know they're
mentioned
always
it. You
exactly
still
a
have
week
4.
apart, so.
Still
You've
have
got
4
5 Mondays in the month. So you
in
get
January?
8, 15, 22, and
So maybe
29.
we will
Okay,
just
so we're
bump
good.
everything down 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it would be the full week of Christmas and the next week that would be off.
Correct.
Okay.
But you have Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, we do, okay.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get back to you
Okay,
on
we'll figure that
January.
out. Okay, perfect.
But yes, it will, regardless of.
Not to add more confusion to the evening. I apologize.
No, I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. No, so just a couple of quick announcements. One, we certainly know Ms. Smith mentioned it earlier, but we certainly have the Blanchard family in our prayers tonight. I know the vigil's going on tonight. Angela and Walt reached out to me today. So we've got City Hall lit up blue tonight, and we will do that again on December 21st for Anaya Blanchard Day. So just keep that family in your prayers. Also, if you guys remember Will Pietriotoni and his partner Sam, who came in for the Cornhole League that actually started down here in the plaza. He was in a horrible accident in Auburn on Friday and was airlifted to the trauma unit. So just keep that family in your prayers as well. And then I want to say there was a great turnout for the First Responders 5K on Saturday. We had a great time out there. A lot of people ran that race. I know I saw Counselor Sims out there, as well as, well, I did not see you.
You must have been at the
You were
back.
there, but I did not see
He
you.
was only talking about the people at the front.
So I apologize, Counselor Wolverton, that I missed you. You were just that far ahead of everybody else. That's why I didn't see you. But no, it was a great turnout. They had more runners this year than any year previous, and raised more money. So that's just a fantastic program. And then lastly, actually, no, I'm sorry, 2 more things. I have asked for an update from both Lifeguard and Amwaste. They should be bringing something to me and then to you guys here in the next couple of weeks, just so you guys understand and can hear where we are with both of those companies and their contracts with the city. And then lastly, I want to thank George Culver. I believe he's still back there. He is. So Mr. Culver brought to our attention the new Homewood Pops community band that was created by Chris Cooper, the band director at the high school, and they're collaborating with the Homewood Arts Council to do these pop-up concerts. And the first one is actually going to be November 7th at the Homewood High School Theater. The concert will be a salute to American veterans and highlight our city's Veterans Day activities that week. So just wanted you guys to be aware of that. It's a really cool new program. We're very excited about it, and you'll see these random concerts pop up, and kind of reminds me of like a student black jacket symphony, to where they're going to be playing a whole bunch of different things depending on what the season is, and so pretty cool. But that's it.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Gwaltney.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will set public safety immediately following finance at 5 p.m., assuming that's.
That is correct. I was asked to set it at 5.
Awesome. Thank you, Counselor Smith. Besides that, I have no other comments.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gear.
Yes, so in addition to Patrick's comments, the Arts Council will have another opening reception this Thursday at 5:30. They would really appreciate any counselors or anyone from the city stopping by if you have a chance, just to say hey and meet the artist. So I'll be out of town, would love for some of y'all to represent, because they are excited about their work. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Alamont.
No comments from me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wolverton?
Yes, Brian, I have a couple pictures that I think you might have on your phone now. But I just wanted to say we had a great fall festival for Hall Kent a couple weeks ago. Great turnout, lots and lots of happy families, great weather. Definitely can't complain about any of that. There you go. And that's living proof that we were there at the 5K on Saturday. No, I did want to.
A little Photoshop to me.
Whatever. I want to congratulate my wife. She won her age division. So she had a blast.
People definitely saw her.
Yeah. Well, she wanted me to hang back so I could pace her. But, and then Clark got one of the Impact Awards for Homewood Soccer Club last weekend. He had a little hat trick in his game. So just wanted to give him a quick little shout out too. We've had a great time, and we really enjoy all that Homewood has to offer in terms of athletics and everything else. We also went to a baseball tournament for our oldest son yesterday. It was up north of town. It was dirt fields. I can say that having not played on dirt fields, I appreciated not having dirt fields. And I think our kids did too, because they kept losing the ball if it was thrown in the dirt and they couldn't find it a few times. So, and then tomorrow we are having a little celebration. Tom Walker and his group, development group, are having a little shindig at the old Econo Lodge site. I believe it runs from 5:30 to 7:30. Is that right? 5:30 to 7:30. Yep. So it'll actually be primarily across the street at Buca, but they're going to have some food and beverages and just kind of open to come and go as you like and hear more about the project and their updated timeline and all that. So I think that's it. And I did not see anything new. We had a small referral agenda, nothing for public works, so I will not set that.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Sims?
Thanks so much. Just a couple of things. One, I wanted to mention the Chamber Open House, which is November 2nd. So I don't know that we'll have another council meeting before then. So the holiday open house, please add that to your calendar. Also, today is my son Charlie's 17th birthday, so happy birthday, Charlie.
All right. Ms. Smith?
There are no special issues items, so I don't need to set special issues, and Walter did ask me to set finance for 5, so do that. And I will say, I have really enjoyed the art exhibits in the lobby. It's been really neat to have that down there, so I'm going to try to make it to the reception and also the open house. Chamber Open House is one of my favorite events of the year, so I'm super excited about that. And I just wanted to say I went last week and bought some pumpkins and some mums at Mrs. Sims' garden, and Amy is just killing it. She has sold 735 mums, over 3,500 pumpkins. Right now, she won't know the net profit until the end, but right now her gross profit is about $41,800, which is a 12% increase over last year. And I'm telling you, when I went late in the afternoon. It was covered in kids. There was all these little kids running around, and she has all these cute little tiny pumpkins that kids were buying and for school projects and stuff. Anyway, it's really super cool. She's doing great, so just wanted to bring that up, and that's it for me.
Thank you. Ms. Nelms?
I don't have anything tonight.
All right. Ms. Andrus?
So it looks like a short night, except for P&D. So let me set P&D to follow public safety. And anyway, this is just a fun time of year, man. I drove down Broadway today and just couldn't believe all the creativity in the front yards. And the Witches Ride is on Saturday, and Hollywood's got a Halloween party this weekend, and Hollywood Garden Club's meeting at Ginger Busby's house, and she's always got everything just, decked out. Exactly. So it is just a fun time of year. So. Oh, and congratulations to the football team for making the playoffs.
All right. Mr. Harden?
Nothing for me tonight.
All right. I don't have anything either, so we'll go ahead and adjourn for tonight and see everyone in a couple weeks.